Stretching the circle, well, living in the outback can mean the next human settlement is a good day's drive away. So what do these isolated communities do for schooling, or if someone needs a doctor? Well, Sean Lynch recently found out.
Australia has some of the most geographically isolated and remote communities in the world, but right in the middle of nowhere is the oasis of Alice Springs, where you'll find two of the outback's most important lifelines, the Royal Flying Doctor Service and the School of the Air. In the Australian outback, doctors and nurses buzz around in small planes, landing in paddocks about the size of Sydney, and the teachers sit in the best spot they can, thousands of miles away from their students. The Royal Flying Doctor Service was the first aviation medical organisation in the world, and to this day provides 24-hour medical assistance to around 270,000 people every year. One of the greatest problems when the Flying Doctors first started was communication between the bases and the outstation. So what they did was they developed this two-way radio which basically is powered by your tootsies and gets the important messages where they need to go. In fact, I have an important message to make right now. Base, are you there? The two-way radio system was the basis for another innovation, Australia's School of the Air, which is as relevant today as it was in the days of pedal power.
The Alice Springs School of the Air provide learning for isolated and remote students across primarily the Northern Territory, but we have got some kids in the very top end of South Australia, and we provide programs via video conferencing for the kids so they access their learning online using return feed video. So each family is provided with a computer, printer, scanner, webcam, microphone, and other peripherals. The families have satellite dishes installed, and that's how the kids access their teacher. You know, just as kids access a teacher in a mainstream class, they have a conversation, they complete their work, they undertake the writing task, but they're thousands of kilometres away from one another.
And that's what we're going to do this afternoon, George. That's the trick you're going to learn.
There's a little toolbar down the bottom on our screen.
The results that our kids achieve are comparable with the best results that the kids in the Northern Territory achieve, and we're really proud of that at our school and work really hard to make sure that distance isn't a barrier.
And look, I have to say, I think that's such an important story to share because my father's life was saved by the Royal Flying Doctors.
What happened?
Well, he was in a really terrible, tragic shooting accident because he was shooting rabbits because he's a wool classer, and he tripped and fell and shot himself under the head. And luckily he had dentures, and the bullets ricocheted off him at the base of his spine, and he somehow managed to crawl back on his own to their four-wheel drive. And we're talking about the middle of nowhere where you see those aerial shots of just red dust and the kangaroos, and just all we was able to do was press the button. Couldn't say anything, could just manage to press the button on the two-way. And luckily the people at the property where we were staying figured out instinctively that something was wrong, and they literally saved his life. They flew him to the Royal Adelaide neurosurgeons, and he was almost gone. So I'm very grateful to them.
Wow. Just to give us some perspective, how far did they have to travel? Like, how long did it take for them to get there?
I think they were there within 45 minutes or so. Wow. So he was very, very lucky. And I think the biggest problem with the Royal Flying Doctors for them is trying to get people in the cities to understand that it's relevant to them. And so I always try and tell the story because I say you can have anyone travelling up there, or you can be in the Kimberley, you can be anywhere, any of your family members, and they'll need the Royal Flying Doctors. So it's until it affects your family, you don't really think about it much in the cities because we have such great hospital systems. So if you can support them in any way, please do, because they do a wonderful job.